As Matt and Rich and I were talking in our pre-meet conversation, this notion around like who drives it, who's really driving the strategy. Do they have the skills to even like understand the complexity of what change management is? So, just kind of wanted to throw it out to the group, and what have you seen in your organization? Like,
I just wanted to comment on a comment from Gordon Ritchie in the chat. And the comment is profound, but we all sort of know it. Change is constant. And so it should be baked in. And it occurs to me that that's what we're talking about. How do you bake in this constant shift toward new skills that we need? And, Gordon also comments about keep in mind the end goal and what behavior needs you have, and how articulate are we at those, and how articulate are we at enabling our individuals that work for us with us to own their own strategy. Gordon, I don't know if you have anything to add or if you'd like to comment and see if I captured that correctly.
It's so easy for us because change has become such a big process, and it's something that we can grapple with in a nice methodology, but it's like the skills versus competency debate. We could get lost down that rabbit hole of dealing with change. Are we doing ADCAR? Are we doing PMI? Whatever we want to do. But the end goal is to help people perform their jobs differently tomorrow than they were doing it yesterday with some new tools. And hopefully that's more effective and better.
One of the things, and I love this graphic, for example, that we were sharing here, we were talking about it, but I think one of the things that's fundamental that when it comes to skills conversations is we've got to anchor back on what is the work output and the work production that we have. I think a lot of times we start from the large taxonomy side. We start from, it started back in the day with competency models to taxonomies, but there was always a gap between skills definition to actual work product, work output, and being able to cover that gap. And what we're seeing in the exciting conversation now is that in order for this to really work, because this skilling conversation isn't new. It's not something that we just said, hey, in the last couple of years, we should really focus on this. I mean, this is something we've been struggling with before. And the skills conversation was separated between L&D did training, skills, and that was an HR thing, competency models, skills, taxonomies, that was an HR thing. The fact of the matter is that the ones that are at compromise in the end are the actual employees, the workers, those that are in that actually need to be able to have both say, how do I do the growth and direction that I have and the high likelihood of success, as well as the ability to be able to produce on the end in a function or an output.
I love Brian's question, which is, how many organizations are ready to do this? That's a great question. Why is it not happening?
I'll just share, and I've worked in a lot of really conservative organizations, banking and insurance, which tend to be risk averse. And so in those cases, the leaders are operationally excellent, but their leadership skills typically are not as forward thinking. And I just think that there's a lot of organizations where they're not prepared for this, and it's hard to bring them along. Just my point of view.
Anybody has anything else to share on the call?
Yeah, I'd like to say a few things. One, the definition of a skill is something I found on Wikipedia. I know it's not an authoritative source, but anyhow, I like the definition. It says a skill is the learned ability to act with determined results with good execution, often within a given amount of time, energy, or both. What I like about this is that it's not just a skill, it's the impact of that skill on the work or the goal of the organization. And I think when you talk in those terms to managers, that this skill is going to help you do X, Y, and Z to drive performance, I think that it becomes more relevant to them.